Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Charles. I want to welcome you guys to another episode of the Dreamerspro Show, where we cover everything from sports, hot topics, classic debates, entertainment, and where we give you guys a fresh perspective on things and how we see them. And in today's episode, the topic is, was John Salley right to pick the Clippers to make the NBA Finals? So that's the topic I want to get into in today's video. But before we get into that, I want you guys to please make sure you go ahead and hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and hit the notification bell to be notified whenever we drop our content. Also, make sure you check out Dreamerspro Max, an online sports community, a place where you can go and start basketball discussions, chat live during games, and so many other cool things. So if you guys are interested in that, be sure to check that out. We have that linked in the description below and get 7 days of access. Also, make sure you go ahead and click the join button next to the subscribe button. We'll join the channel to receive your customized loyalty badges on the channel. So whenever you leave a comment, we can respond to them when we go live, and whenever you leave it on our videos, we definitely see them. So make sure you go ahead and do that. Anyway, let me get into this topic right here. So I enjoy listening to John Salley, right? Because he provides a unique perspective on basketball, right? Because the guy's been in the league for quite some time. Now, I don't always agree with some of the things that he says. Like, I don't always agree with some of his takes, but I do respect his opinion, right? And that's important. I don't have to agree with you. I think I just need to respect you. Now, listen, John Salley's a multiple-time NBA champion, right? He won championships with the Los Angeles Lakers, with the Chicago Bulls, if I'm not mistaken, and he won with the Detroit Pistons. He's been around, John Salley I'm talking about here, he's been around some of the biggest personalities the sport has ever seen. Some of the biggest personalities. You're talking about Kobe Bryant, Isaiah Thomas, Dennis Rodman, Phil Jackson, Michael Jordan, Shaquille O'Neal, Scottie Pippen. He's been around all these guys, right? So this guy has been around the NBA for decades, and he understands basketball at a much deeper level than you and I, right? Like that's something we just have to come to terms with. These guys that played the game, that understand the game, that have been inside the sport, they're going to have more information than you do. It's just that simple. It's just that simple, right? It's like a guy analyzing Hollywood movies and feeling like he has an understanding of, he has a deeper understanding than the guys in Hollywood making movies, or the producers who are going out there hustling to get money together to produce these movies. And all. You don't, because on one level, these guys are doing it practically, you're doing it theoretically. Those that actually do that thing have a better command on that subject than you do. It's just the reality, right? So I understand that going into this subject. So he was talking to Vlad, and he was asked by Vlad. Vlad asked him, so what are your thoughts on who's going to make the NBA Finals, etc., right? Now, I want to sort of set the table for you guys. This interview was conducted on January 9th of 2021. Okay, so this is not some interview I went out there and fished out of some type of, some deep like a trash can or whatever, and I got it from like 2 years ago. This interview took place this year, so it's pretty current, right? It's pretty. So it's fairly recent. So the first thing I want to talk, the first audio I want you guys to take a listen to, is John Salley talking about what he believes is driving the Clippers this season to perform and make it to the championship. He speaks about the psychology behind a lot of the things that they're doing. So before I go too far, I want you guys to take a listen to what he says, what he has to say about the Clippers as far as the psychology this season. So take a listen to that.
Mm-hmm. So it's a hard game to play, but watching what transpired with the Clippers, they put together a team that hopefully won't disappear in the last 12 minutes. And I think that last 12 minutes, those guys remember, it's going to haunt them until they get over it.
Now, in that soundbite, he talks about what he believes is driving the Clippers. He speaks about the embarrassment that they felt after blowing that 3-1 lead, after all of the hype going into the NBA playoffs last year, that we're going to make it to at least to the Western Conference Finals, to have this big showdown with the Los Angeles Lakers, how none of that materialized. So he said a lot of these guys are haunted by their past, right? And it's like a little movie playing in the back of their minds, and the only way to get it out of your mind is get this feeling out of your mind is for you to go out there and sort of make up for the way that they just went out there and just completely, capitulated under that pressure in the Orlando bubble. So that's one of the things that he feels like is driving the Clippers, right? Then he went a step further when Vlad asked him, so who do you think is going to make the NBA Finals ultimately from the Eastern Conference and the Western Conference? And he gives his opinion. So before I go too far, I want you guys to take a listen to what he had to say about who he feels is going to make it to the NBA Finals. So take a listen to that.
I mean, you're pretty good with these predictions. Who do you see in the finals this year?
I see the Los Angeles Clippers versus the Milwaukee Bucks in the NBA Finals.
No Lakers.
No Lakers.
No Warriors.
No Warriors.
No Brooklyn Nets.
No Brooklyn Nets. The reason, this is my reason. The Lakers, when I saw McGee and Rondo and Dwight on other teams, it takes a team to win a championship. Proven fact, Michael Jordan couldn't do it without a team. Kobe couldn't do it without a team. I love that they got Gasol on the squad, but this offense works differently. And the fact that Kawhi is asking Ty Lue to put the triangle offense in is because Kawhi realized Phil Jackson won 10 championships with a system.
Mm-hmm.
They won with a system in Golden State. That was an important thing. So I think Kawhi realizing the system everybody can play in the system of a triangle if you got into the professional level. And if he implements it properly, these guys are gonna destroy anybody that comes in their way.
Now, in that soundbite, he gave his explanation as to who are the two teams that he feels are going to make the NBA Finals, right? And this is where I say I don't always agree with him 100%, but let's talk about what he said. He believes that the Clippers are going to make the NBA Finals because of the personnel that they have, because Kawhi Leonard looked at the success of previous teams before him and looked at Phil Jackson and said, listen, Phil Jackson won 11 championships because he had a system, in this case, the triangle offense. So he realized that they needed to implement an offense, a particular offense. Now, let me say this. The Clippers do not run the triangle exclusively. That's one thing to say. They run it they run it here and there, but they've implemented it this season. That's number one. Number two, when he did this interview, remember he spoke about the whole Rajon Rondo and then JaVale McGee, how that really played a big role in the Lakers' success last season. When he did this interview, Rondo had not joined the Clippers. Rondo came after the trade deadline. I believe if John Salley did this interview after the trade deadline, I feel like he would have more conviction in his position as far as the Clippers making it to the NBA Finals, because he spoke about the importance of Rajon Rondo, and I think if he knew then that Rondo was going to be on the team later this season, I feel like he would have taken an even stronger stance, on the Clippers, because Rondo, since joining the Clippers, they've gone 8-3, right? They've been very good, and they've been doing this missing some key pieces. So that's something to pay attention to. As far as the Clippers offense, the Clippers have a well-oiled machine. The Clippers offense is firing on all cylinders. As a team from the three, think about this. They're shooting 42% from the three-point line as a team. They're the number one free throw shooting team in the NBA. They're one of the highest rated offenses in the NBA. I think they're number 6 in the NBA as far as scoring. They're scoring about 114.9 points per game. So they're a high-powered offense, but also they're top 10, top 11 defense as far as defensive rating. So the Clippers are a very, very, very good team. Now, here's a part about disagreeing and not always agreeing with him. He spoke about the Milwaukee Bucks, and he asked him, he said, but what about the Boston Celtics? What about the Sixers and all these other teams? Not the Boston Celtics, excuse me, the Brooklyn Nets. And he believes that the Milwaukee Bucks are going to make it to the finals over the Brooklyn Nets. Now, let me just say this. If the Brooklyn Nets are fully healthy, I find it very difficult for a team out there to stop them in the Eastern Conference from getting to the NBA Finals. This is just my opinion. I think the Brooklyn Nets, if they're healthy and they're firing on all cylinders and James Harden and these guys are back, I think the Brooklyn Nets are going to make it to the NBA Finals. But obviously, he feels differently. He feels differently about the Brooklyn Nets than I do. So I think he's fully aware that James Harden is on the team because they acquired him before the trade deadline. And he feels that irrespective of the fact that they do have James Harden, Kyrie Irving, and Kevin Durant, he still believes that the Milwaukee Bucks are going to make it to the NBA Finals, and he just has another. Maybe he's coming at it from a different angle, but these are the things that he thinks, right? And he gives his reasons. So, what I want to know from you guys is, who do you think makes the NBA Finals? Who do you think is going to make it to the finals? What are the two teams that are going to make it to the finals in the Eastern Conference and the Western Conference? Whatever you guys think, please leave your thoughts and comments in the comment section below. Again, if you enjoyed the video, be sure to make sure you go ahead and hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and hit the notification bell to be notified whenever we drop our content. Once again, this is Charles here from Dreamerspro. Wishing you guys an amazing day and catch you guys on the next episode.